All right, I think we're live. Are we good? I always have to refresh this thing because we never know until we actually see everybody. But looks like we're live here with Luke from Endless Entrepreneurs. I want to say what's up to everybody.
What's going on, guys? Thanks, Glenn, for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time and let me come on here and talk a little bit about diversifying income streams. I'm pretty pumped.
Oh, I know. It's something that I really wanted to talk, I guess, about it for a while. I don't know. It feels a little weird sometimes just being myself, by myself on here. But now we have a guest. We can both talk about it, relate on this issue. So, yeah, I'm definitely pumped for this one. Top 5 reasons why you should diversify your income. On the live chat, saying what's up to everybody. Brandon and of course Tanya, saying hi to Tanya. Thrifty Treasures, please go subscribe to her when you can. Treasure Hustlers, hey, from Cali, nice. And Jose is here, Kicks Orlando in the house, so people just getting in. So Luke, you want to tell everybody who you are, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am I would say a technically part-time eBay reseller. I work full-time in the corporate finance world, so I kind of balance both at the same time. I also run a YouTube channel called Endless Entrepreneurs. And I am just starting to kind of get into real estate a little bit. So kind of those are the main things about me and what I do. I live in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. So shout out to Charlotte. It definitely has some of the best thrifting around. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Nice. So you a Hornets fan or no?
So I am a bitter Knicks fan. I'm from upstate New York.
Okay.
Right, so I root for the Hornets because there hasn't been much to root for the Knicks since I've been alive. So, but yeah. How about you? What basketball allegiance do you have?
So I'm a Laker fan, and I mean I live in El Paso, which we don't have a team, obviously.
Right.
Football, Dolphins, even though Cowboys is pretty much owns here. Are you a Panthers fan?
So I'm a Giants fan. So I grew up in upstate New York. I relocated to Charlotte.
So, okay, yeah, so both New York teams. Nice. Okay, nice. And let's see. So Jam says what's up. Zack is also here. Sam Adams just started eBay. Mason says no sound. Let me know if you guys can hear us, making sure we're good. Donald asks where in upstate New York.
So I am from if you know where Syracuse is, I'm like an hour south of Syracuse, kind of around Binghamton, Elmira area. Kind of a desolate region near Cornell is probably the best reference point if you're familiar with upstate New York at all.
Okay, cool.
So,
cool.
Kind of wine country up there.
All right, nice. Let's see. Get Trend says hello from Vietnam. Caroline is here. Zach found those Puma and Pink Dolphin collab shoes. Nice. Let's see, Luke, do you have Ross in those stores over there in your area?
Yeah, so I've got a Ross, a Marshall's. I think I've got like 2 or 3 of them within like a 3-mile radius of me. Charlotte's kind of crazy. There's like mainstream stores on every exit.
So. Oh, okay. But you're mostly, I guess, with thrifting and everything, right?
Yeah, mostly a Goodwill guy. Although I've been dabbling a lot more with your videos of late, and I'm kind of getting the itch. So we'll see.
Right.
Itch a little bit.
All right. So what platforms are you currently selling on?
Yeah, so I only sell on eBay right now. I've previously sold on Amazon FBA. I've merchant fulfilled on Amazon. I've sold locally. So, I mean, I've had some experience, but I have narrowed right down to eBay, primarily just because I'm part-time and it's easier for me to focus on one platform right now as I grow, which is a little counterintuitive what we're talking about tonight, but we'll get into why and how that works as we
go. Okay, cool. So when did you start selling on eBay?
Yeah, so I started selling. Technically, I started selling when I was in college. I started garage selling, kind of got that itch. Was flipping a lot of video games, a lot of nostalgic stuff for me, right? Like a lot of those video games you grow up on, you're excited about the Final Fantasies, the different Maddens and the NES and those type of things, Zelda. And then I just kind of realized, like from there, the supply and demand issue where I lived was really fierce and competitive. And so it was a couple years after that, I graduated from college and stumbled upon actually Steve Rakin's videos for clothing. And that kind of got me down this path. So, that was really kind of in the transition. It always was to kind of make some extra money. And I just love the hustle aspect of it. So,
yeah, nice. And how many live, I guess, listings do you have right now?
So at unique listings, I have about 1,900. Quantity wise, I have about 30, pushing 3,500. So
Dang, 3,500, and you're just a one-man team then.
It's a one-man show right now. Yeah.
All right, man, 3,500. That's crazy. And most of it, so most of it's clothing, you would say?
Yeah, 99% is clothing. There's probably, I've got some shoes. I've been starting to get a little limited shoes a little more. But yeah, pretty much most of it's that. I've got a couple hard good things here and there that like old video games and stuff that I've just had trying to get rid of. But yeah, primarily clothing. It's just a process thing for me. It's easier to process like types of inventory on a part-time basis. So.
Okay, cool. And Terry says hi everyone. Says hi to Tanya. Adrian, what's up? And Jamie also here. Caroline, so asking who you are, Luke. Endless Entrepreneurs. You want to leave a comment? I guess on the live chat, they could just go straight to your channel. At least they can check it out from here if they want to.
So, yeah, I will leave. Type in the chat right now, but Endless Entrepreneurs YouTube channel. I don't know if that'll link to it or not. I don't know if I actually can put a link to it, but Endless Entrepreneurs, you should be able to find me all right, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, they can just copy and paste your name, put that on the bar, and go from there. So you're working full time, right?
Yeah. So I work full time in corporate, kind of like database sales reporting, finance. So.
And then selling on eBay. And yeah, so how do you balance full-time job, reselling, being a family man? How do you balance all this stuff?
Delicately, but yeah, no, it's definitely a tough formula. I've gotten better at it over the years. It was tough early on to figure out kind of what your rhythm is, how to be most productive. For me, really what I've found that's been the key is that my mornings determine everything. For me, I don't have a lot of control over how my day goes after a certain time because I could be at work later. Something could come up with Shannon or my fiance, something we need to go do. There could be something fun I want to do. I might have rec sports at night. I like to play basketball, softball. And so just for me, I finally realized, hey, my mornings before I go to my full-time job, I need to dominate those mornings. I need to get everything done I want for my business. And so this year, it's probably January, I kind of forced myself into a 4 a.m. wake-up schedule. And it was brutal, and I've kind of graduated more to like a 4:45 one of late. But so I work for like a solid 2 to 3 hours on my business every morning before I go to work. And that kind of ensures I keep the momentum going. And it also gives me that flexibility at night that, when Shannon's home, if I want to kind of just change my plans and do something, I can. I also use my night times to work on my business. So I sacrifice a lot to do it. I mean, just being fully transparent. I do usually like one social thing a week and 1 or 2 sports leagues, and that's it. Like I don't do a lot of TV watching. There's not a lot of movie watching. There's no binge watching on shows. Like I can't do that and do both. So that's a long answer, but that's how I do it. That's how it's worked for me.
All right. And what about after work? I remember when I worked full time at the university, like I went straight to like Savers, Goodwill, all of this stuff. And then I try to like just schedule everything. It does get a little tough. Do you go straight to the stores? You mostly do that during the weekend, or when do you, I guess, go to like Savers, Goodwill, these stores?
Yeah. So, I mean, working full time is obviously tough. Just like you said, you can relate. It's tough because the core hours are open. You're at work. So I found little hacks, like usually once a week, usually on a Friday, sometimes twice a week during lunch. I have Goodwills close enough to me that I can hit them for like 30, 35 minutes and then get back. So I'll try to leverage that like once or twice a week. And then weekends are kind of go time. Like it's been getting better. Actually, I'm finding more and more stuff as my niches have expanded. But before I was doing 4 to 6 Goodwills like on a Saturday usually. And then I was trying to hit like 2 during the week, like 1 during work and 1 after work. So I was getting like 8 stores in each week. Now I'm down to like 4 a week. And it's just because I'm finding so much stuff that I don't need to go to more than 4. But yeah, weekends are kind of go time for sourcing just because it's easier. And I like to get it all done in one day. So I just have the stuff all week to kind of prep and list and plan around.
Yeah, man, that is crazy. I just know how much work it takes. Like it just going like being full time and then going after that to like pretty much, a whole nother job, a whole nother work. I mean, it just takes a lot of work to do it. But when you enjoy it, it doesn't feel like work, but man, it's a lot of work you're putting into it. And I guess what I wanted to ask you also too, if you want to go into his channel, Endless Entrepreneurs, top 20 sports jerseys you sold during Q1. So this one really got my attention. Of course, I've had jerseys on my channel, for a long time. Just kind of like, I mean, I love selling jerseys. So how did you learn, I guess, about jerseys, or just being a sports fan, or?
Yeah, so sports got me into them, right? Like I have my own, collector stuff that I actually sold a lot of, and then over the years you'd find them in thrift stores, and my thrift stores are always flatly priced, so I would just pick up any jersey I found. It was $4, like just grab it. And so I started to learn what works, what sells, what doesn't. You start learning the different brands and the lines, the stitched on numbers versus the screen printed numbers. And you start to kind of differentiate that quality. I'm a diehard basketball fan, diehard NFL football fan. Mostly college basketball, but pros too. So like that's kind of my foundation. I also had the opportunity. I bought this huge jersey lot locally on a Facebook group last fall.
Oh,
And
nice.
it was a guy who was a collector. He was unloading everything. And in total, it was over 3 purchases from him. I ended up purchasing like 110 jerseys. And they're all $12.50 a piece. And wide range, college, pros, all different sports. He's a huge Georgia Tech fan. So I learned a ton through researching and listing those two, kind of get into it. So a lot of those jerseys you saw in that video are from that haul.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I remember saw like a Gary Payton Lakers swingman in there. I think it was like a Brett Favre. Oh man, I can't remember if it was a starter, if it was a Wilson. I can't remember.
Starter, yeah.
It was a starter one. Yeah, there's some really good stuff in there. Like a lot of that, just like classic retro. Well, actually, when Gary Payton was at the Lakers, I was like during like the sad time because we had Karl Malone and then
because you had Gary Payton, and not in his prime.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I actually went to that NBA Finals during that time.
Really?
I went to I went to Game 2, the only one that they won when Kobe hit the shot. Other than that
series was
lost. Yeah, to the Pistons. So forever, I'm against Detroit because of that. But
that's fine. I hear you.
So we went to sports stuff. All right. Top 5 reasons you should diversify your income. And what I really like about this topic though is because I used to work full time, and now I'm kind of like doing a mixture of things, right? Like YouTube with merch by Amazon, eBay, a little bit of FBA. I sent in like a couple of boxes the other day. And I'm gonna have some money like in stocks and stuff, just trying to like, do a bunch of things with that. And people have asked me like, how do you have time to do everything? And of course I love doing all of it, but I just can't see myself just going into just one platform or just one income stream. I think it's like you're just leaving yourself very vulnerable to a lot of different things. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. I think it's going to be a really, really good show. So we have 5 different reasons. So Luke, if you want to give everybody number 5, and then we can just kind of go in and out of the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. And before I get the 5th one, I kind of want to throw it back to you for a second here and just say how impressed I was. And one of the reasons why I even reached out to you to begin with was you got so many different paths going, and you're doing so well managing them and so successful at them. I mean, when I first talked to Glenn, one of our first conversations was about how he manages it, how he handles it successfully, what the advantages were. And so I guess it's just really cool that we get to come out here and talk about it. And I've learned so much from you already just in the short time we've talked and watching all your content. So pretty pumped.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I apologize for the dog in the background. Occasionally Thor gets a little riled up.
That's all good.
So number 5, and this one, it allows you the chance to live off like one income stream and kind of reinvest that and grow other ventures and like kind of accelerate that growth, leverage them. And I think this one for me, I resonate off this big time, right? Like I have my full-time income, and it allows me the opportunity with everything else I'm doing with eBay, with YouTube, whatever. I just snowball it all right back into it and grow it faster than if I had to rely and pull stuff out of it. And I think that's one of the best parts about diversifying your income is that you can do that, right? Like you can leverage one and just grow the others a lot faster than you could have by themselves in silos. So
yeah, it's kind of like when you're working full time, it's like you're just relating on that one income. And when that happens, I found it super, super tough to like pay the student loans, the car loans, everything with just one income coming in. You're like, you're balancing a lot, but once you have the extra one coming in, now you can like reinvest in other stuff. In my case, I was buying stuff with like Ross and Marshalls and then selling it on eBay. So we have that money coming in, and then put some of it into the loan reinvestment. So I was able to kind of, do that, but when it was just one income, it was super, super tough. I guess with do you use your main job income that for pretty much like your main bills, you would say? Like, house and things.
Yeah. So I pretty much I budget so that my main income takes care of all of my expenses and even some of my extra like fun stuff, so that I'm not tempted to pull money out of my other businesses. Because like I mean, even YouTube and Instagram and then eBay, like they're their own, to me, they're their own business entities I'm working on. And now this will be a rental property. And so each of them, I like to keep it self-contained. So like my inventory with eBay, as money comes to my PayPal, it stays in my PayPal. I don't take it out, and I always reinvest it in inventory. So it's like I don't have to pass up opportunities. Like I made that bulk buy for like $3,500. Like I couldn't have done that had I not had the leverage and the support and the foundation for my full-time job.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Kind of, what are your experiences with that? I mean, you've had the journey of coming from, paying off the loans, all the different income streams, and like, how has that been for you? And have you grown? Do you feel like you've grown something faster as a result than you would have otherwise?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that, I mean, if I didn't have that extra income coming in, I mean, without eBay or Amazon, any of that stuff, there's no way I would be able to pay off the loans and well, the student loans and the car loan, especially, like those combined, I owed like over 50,000, and the credit card stuff too is mostly just because of books. Like school, I was paying for books with that stuff, and it just kept piling on over and over and over. And I was like, man, at one point I just kind of felt like there was like no way I was going to get out of it, especially with just that one income stream. But when you get a brand new job too, coming out of college, I mean, you're not going to start off at the top, and you're not going to make, what you probably think you're going to make. And that's what we're going to get to later, as far as like growing in the corporate ladder and all that, and how much that has changed. But yeah, it kind of like a mini depression at one point. I was just like, man, I have to do something now if I really, really want to pay off all of this stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I can relate totally to student loan life, man.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So Kenneth, my buddy, says go Pistons. So come on, go Pistons.
That's a quick way to get blacklisted. I don't
know. Let's see. Anza Troy. Yes, we're gonna have. It's not really gonna be a conference in El Paso. It's gonna be more of a meetup. I'm still getting all the details ready. It is coming up very, very soon. We're like 10 days away. So I'm actually gonna send out all that stuff tomorrow. So I'll get that going out. Caroline, I found a youth large Tannehill jersey, and that's kind of funny because I also found one today. And if he didn't get hurt, I really do think it's kind of funny. Before he got hurt, I was checking completed listings. 2 of them in kids sold for like $59 each. So right now they're $9.99 at Ross for the Tannehill jerseys. So, but now that he's hurt, now we have Jay Cutler in there, which I really don't even know. What do you think about that, Luke? Cutler.
So I have really some ill will towards Jay Cutler. I had some brutal fantasy football years where I got stuck with him in a 2-quarterback league. So I don't have anything nice to say about Jay Cutler, other than very ill will towards him.
All right. Well, at least we can tell the truth there with Cutler. Yeah, I don't even know what to expect once you get Jay Cutler starting. Gabe, go Lakers. Yes, I like that comment. Carlos, what's up? And let's see, Thrifty Treasures. All right. We said what's up. Mike, you need a shoe rack. I know. I got like a huge mess. I don't even know if I should even show you this. I'll at least show you guys. You guys can see it. That's partial. And then there's like more stuff on the floor that I have not listed yet. Yeah, I got some work. Al, when's the EP meetup? That's going to be on the 19th. Anybody that sent me the email or signed up through the website, you're going to get, I guess, the details on where we're going to meet up. Not quite dead stock. Found 2 Kaepernick jerseys, $4.99 at Ross, and sold one today for $50. Luke, why do you think Kaepernick jerseys are even selling? Do you like? Why would you think they're selling for $5? Well, they're $5 at Ross, but
I mean, he's still frequently a headline, whether it be on ESPN or news channels or wherever. I mean, as long as his name, and this goes for any player, as long as they're being talked about on mainstream media, I feel like the value is always going to be there. Right? It's when people stop talking about him, the value goes away.
Yeah, and I kind of think too is that like if nobody signs him, I still think, and they're still talking about him, his jerseys are definitely still going to sell. And I mean, $5 is just dirt cheap at Ross right now. I sold mine for 45, I think. 44, 45. It was the only one that I found. Oh no, you know what? I found one when I went to Phoenix. But you just never know who's out there buying stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Jam says I found some Swingman jerseys popped up at Burlington. Found Steph Curry, and I think someone found the Steph Curry one at Ross, $24.99 for the Swingman jersey.
Wow.
Yeah. So what happens is Nike is actually going to make the NBA jerseys next year. So a lot of teams are getting a new look. I think the Cavs got like brand new jerseys. So a lot of the Swingman jerseys, you might see them. I think Durant and Curry, I think all of those are still going to sell regardless. I mean, $25, you could probably still flip those. But still kind of crazy to see them already there at Ross.
Yeah. It's nuts how fast some of that stuff just falls into those stores. I mean,
I know.
One major announcement and boom, just liquidate. Like what?
Yeah, it's crazy. And a high retail price, especially for the football ones. Those limited jerseys at Ross retail for like $150.
Yeah.
And now they're already they're at Ross. Once someone switches teams, they're already there. Like it's crazy how quickly they got them. All right, now we got kind of off topic, but at least we got into the chat a little bit. So number 4, you want to protect yourself in a down economy. And so 2008, 2009, Luke, were you selling like on eBay during that time? Like
2008, 2009. I was not. Well, I was, but not seriously. That was back. I was dating myself. That was college. So that was like the end of my college. I was just like kind of flipping stuff on the weekends from garage sales and stuff.
Okay. And this is something that Gary Vee talks about a lot, is talking about like the economy and like what's going to happen next. So if you follow stocks, any of that, everyone knows that, right now we're at an all-time high, but it is going to eventually go down again. I don't know how the economy is going to hit, as far as like an all-time low goes, but with a down economy, it is tough. A lot of people were looking for side hustles during that time. I remember I was selling partially on eBay. I wasn't 100% serious. I was like you too. I wasn't like what I'm doing now. But I remember during that time, a lot of people were looking for deals on eBay. Like eBay was still doing well, especially with used clothing, because no one was really going to the mall and spending full retail price and any of that stuff. And I remember talking to Chris, the Bonafide Hustler, and he was telling me the same thing. He was actually selling quite a bit of stuff during that time, and eBay was still doing really, really good, even though I had a down economy. But at least to be prepared and have money put aside for that, Gary always talks about that. Well, in Gary's case, he's hoping for the down economy to happen soon so that he can tell people like, I told you so, and you should be saving money. So he has his own little plan of what he wants to do with that. But how are you kind of doing? Are you kind of preparing yourself for that at all? Aside, like having money on the side, or how are you doing with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, I've never felt better about having an eBay business, especially since it is in used goods, because from an economic standpoint, if and when a correction happens and money becomes tighter, people look for deals and cut costs. And the first place they usually cut costs is consumer goods. So if you are flipping used goods or even like deals on like the stuff from Ross and Marshall or wherever else, like that's a really good niche to be in because people are always looking to save money during those times. Mm-hmm. And 2, I've been. I mean, there's a reason why I've been working on multiple streams of income and why I still work full time. I get the question a lot, like, when are you going to leave? What are you doing? And it's like I've been patient and keeping it for a reason because of that. Like exactly what you're talking about. It's like I want to be prepared to make sure that I have a foundation because I work in finance and. We work in finance and things go on its head. Sometimes you don't have control over your employer and what they have for you. So, yes, for sure.
Yeah, totally agree. And Capone says that he was selling back then too and made good money, actually better than now. So that's kind of funny in the 2008, 2009. And I think used clothing. And I talked about this too on a couple of live videos ago, just how like those stores, Ross, Burlington, Marshalls, are doing so well. Because they have like those low prices and they are able to buy them, of course, wholesale, like straight from Nike. They get the best deals. They're still making, awesome money in return as far as like, and those stores are always packed. But going, I guess, comparing it to the mall though, and paying retail, buying things you don't need, and we've already kind of seen that already with like Kmart and Sears and all these different stores that are going out of business. And I think it's just going to get worse and worse. Of course, everything's going online. But to be just kind of prepared for it, totally agree. Having that money put away, you never know. Anza Troy says the Jones is at 22K right now. Plus, it's nuts. I know it's.
I did buy on Gary's. So you brought Gary V in the market. So last year when he said buy Facebook and you guaranteed to have a 50% return by this time next year, I was just playing around with like some side money that I had, and so I did. I put all of it into Facebook, and sure as heck, it's up almost 40% since I bought it like 8 months ago. So he's right on pace for his prediction, which is pretty bold.
Do you have a lot of money, I guess, put up in stocks, or that you personally put in, or from work, or?
So I've had a couple small like 401ks I've all rolled together, and now I self-manage, and that's just another way for me. I mean, that's more of like wealth building, but that's stuff I've been learning and educating myself on. And I'm by no means an expert. I know very little, but I'm trying to learn and trying to be practical about it. It's just another avenue to be, securing a pillar of financial independence of any kind,
Okay, nice. Caroline has a pretty good question. When do you guys ship when you have a 9 to 5?
Good question. You want to take that one first?
So when I worked 9 to 5, number one, I would go during my lunch break. I would go either to the nearest post office, or we also had, I worked at the university, so we had like a student union area, and we had like a post office, like a mini post office there. And I would just take it there and whenever I could. So that's kind of funny too, is like I'd go to work, I'm wearing like my like tie and slacks and all that stuff, and I just had like bags of like eBay stuff, just like, I'd walk quite a while all the way to that little post office. I would take that. But if I didn't for some reason get out for lunch, then yeah, I would go right after work. And we had one post office that closed at 6, so I had like that 1 hour to hurry and try to get there. That was like the only time I had.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I mean, you kind of got to adapt. Luckily for me, so the post office closest to me here in Charlotte, which was way different in New York, they have an overnight bin. So what I try to do is ship, because I print my labels at night, and then I try to drop them off on my way to work if I leave on time. If I don't leave on time, then it's in the back of my car, and I have to try to hustle during lunch and get them, drop them off there.
Yeah.
So
all right,
that's
cool.
the easiest for me.
Yeah. Let's see. So Capone says the same thing. Ships on his lunch break. What's up, Dave? Dave is here saying what's up to also Richard and Aqua Fresh. Where can I find a Nike Swingman from 2000, 2001? All I see are the fake Jason Williams ones, and that's kind of tough too, because I don't mind, like, when it comes to the jersey stuff. I was like a huge fan when it came to like the Swingman jerseys, all of that. And there's a lot of fakes on eBay, even on Amazon too. I wish that they would really crack down on the jersey stuff. And that's kind of a tough. Actually, to answer that question, if you wanted to find, I mean, your best thing is just on eBay and finding a legit seller, finding a legit jersey. I know Mitchell and Ness is going to come out with a Jason Williams Kings jersey, which actually wouldn't mind picking it. I know. Yeah, white chocolate. I'm actually a huge fan. Even though he did got hurt in the big 3.
Yeah, he's a little soft in that.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of random question, but at least I could kind of answer it. And what Nike backpacks are you selling for back to school? That's a really good question too. I was looking through the backpacks, Burlington, Ross, and all that. Compared to last year, I didn't really find, I guess, some like really, really good finds. I guess like the bigger finds, but at Burlington there is some like Nike Jordan stuff. You can make around like $10 to $15 dollar profit range. That, but there's a little mix, I guess, with the Nike stuff. But they're out there. You just gotta find, I guess, those. But I really didn't. I was mostly into like the whole cleats and shoes stuff that I kind of stocked up on. But school is starting up soon, so it is a really good niche to go into right now. Are you selling any backpacks, Luke?
I am not. I haven't found any worth picking up. I am looking though. I'm definitely looking. How about you? You found some good ones this flip?
Last year I did, but not really this year. Just a little bit small profit to be made, but I kind of just passed on it and went to the shoe stuff. So, but like I said, it's a good niche to get into. All right, so let's get into number 3. Luke, want to go to number 3 of 5?
Yeah, absolutely. So number 3 is when you establish multiple income streams, there's a huge opportunity to leverage one into the other and off of each other. And I think that comes, and I'm just going to kind of speak from personal experience, is that for me, like eBay, I was able to easily leverage into YouTube. And they kind of fed off each other, right? My eBay business, the hustle there fed the content for my YouTube channel. And my YouTube channel fed backwards into the reseller community and helped me network for bulk buying and for things like that. So it was like one leverage into the other, and then the other leverage right back into it. And I think that's the relationship and network building of multiple different revenue streams is huge, because you start talking to people in different areas, and then they can connect you to someone they know, or they can connect you to someone else, or maybe they are the connection themselves. And I think that networking aspect of being in two circles, so to speak, from the revenue economic standpoint, I think is just enormous opportunity.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that as far as like leveraging them off together. And my thing's the same thing with like YouTube and eBay, because with whole eBay and telling my story, and what I like about it too is that while I'm selling, I mean, I show everybody, of course, my store and things that I've been selling or picking up, and I'm actually doing it, with you guys while you're also selling it online. And it's, I don't know, I can't really speak, I guess, for everybody, but I see it on there a lot of times, just different people that aren't really selling on the platform, but yet want to like teach you how to sell on the platform. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, but you're not actually doing it. So I like the fact that, hey, well, I'm not here sourcing anyway. Now I can show everybody else and try to help other people, and they can learn from everything that I'm doing. And the income streams too from that. I mean, I make some on YouTube, but at least I can put that back into giveaways and other stuff that I'm doing with the brand and meetups. So just had one in Phoenix. Now we're going to do an El Paso one. So I have some stuff to kind of give away. So it's really, really cool to kind of, work with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and just kind of circling back, like I can't even count anymore the number of relationships that I've formed through the different avenues, even from my daytime job, that have led to someone else through either reselling or wherever. Like all those different paths put you in front of different types of people, and they can leverage back and forth. So I just think that's huge.
Yeah. And what about anybody, I guess, at your job? Like, do they know you're selling on eBay?
So my previous job, I switched jobs in February. My previous job, like everyone knew, and it was like they knew I went to my storage unit during lunch to pick up sold inventory that was up the road. It was a joke sometimes with people. This one is like no one knows, and I don't know. It's weird. Like, you know how like some workplaces it's like your best buddies with everyone, and other ones it's like very professional, and like it just same job, different companies, and different results. So no one really knows at this job yet. It'll be funny if someone stumbles upon a video and walks up to me like,
That's pretty cool. So I wonder, I guess at your old job, do you ever have anybody come up to you and be like, hey, can you like sell this for me? Like,
Yes. I get asked that question all the time from people. And I don't mind helping at all, but most of the time when they ask me to sell something, I'm like, you can get way more money from a Facebook group locally. Like, avoid the fees, avoid all the process you can get. But yeah, it happens to me frequently.
Yeah. And this one was tough. Like at my old job, my boss wanted me to sell like a huge collection of sports cards. And I know, which is super tough. Not only are you talking about like condition of them, we're talking about players or inserts, numbered autographs. I mean, this is like boxes full of them. And I'm like, oh man, I don't even know. And of course it's the boss too, right? So you can only say so much. And I was just like, yeah, this is going to be tough to move. And I mean, sports cards in general have gone down a lot. I remember like when I was a kid, it was like 90s. I used to collect all that stuff. And now it's like, man, it is just super tough to sell them.
Yeah. They're not trendy anymore. They used to be.
Did you used to collect cards or not really?
I did it when I was young, probably to like 13 or 14. And then I kind of just bailed on it. I mean, I think so. No, I
somewhere.
I lived in an area that got flooded in New York, so I actually lost. I think I lost a baseball collection of the flood, but they weren't anything valuable, so it was no big deal.
All right, and let's see who's here in the chat because I have to go back up. Oh man, I kind of lost some.
We got 70 watching live. I only see 22 likes. You guys got to get some likes in there for Glenn. This is an awesome topic, an awesome show, and I'm happy to be on here. So hit that like button, guys.
Let's see. I love all the Ross videos everyone on has on YouTube, but it's killing the resale hustle. You got to go extra hard before everybody else. And what I like about it too, though, is with like the Ross hustles and all that, is that there's a lot of old past season market stuff that not everybody's gonna find it in their area, and it's almost like once you do have it, you can list it, and once it's like gone, like that's it. You know, Nike's not gonna come out with more. You know, there's just random stuff that you find there. That's pretty much it. So the people that are patient enough will make really good money from it. The ones that are just trying to get rid of it because they're kind of scared with the market and making, you know, $5 to $8. I mean, that's just getting scared with reselling in general. And I wouldn't, maybe it's not meant for you then, because you really have to be patient in this game. Not everything's going to sell automatically. What about all of your like 3,400 listings, Luke?
Yeah. I'm a very patient long tail seller. I mean, I price at the top of the market and I wait for it. I will say one point you made is really great. It's like when you're talking about buying, especially from Ross, stuff that's not being made any longer. Like that should be your first tip of be patient, because typically the value is only going to go up, right? It's supply and demand. They're not going to make any more of it, right? And it becomes a finite resource. At some point, it's going to be worth more than it is at that point in time. So unless it's a player that no one cares anything about, but that's where you got to use your own reselling knowledge.
Yeah. And brand new, I mean, is always going to sell higher than used. And in this case, with like Ross finds and all that, I mean, have something brand new with tags. I mean, no complaints there. You're going to get the highest amount. And even unused, if you're talking about, you know, especially like an important player or something, I think you sold the Gary Payton swingman for like $60 around there.
Yep.
Yeah. And in that case, I mean, they weren't going to make any more of those. That was like at one point in time. So
I sold it. It was a couple months ago. Showed Chad Pennington Jets Reebok screen printed low end jersey for $33.
I saw that one.
I mean, like there's almost a market for all of them, because someone at some point in time has some nostalgia to that player, and like I don't know. That's I firmly believe that. I get ridiculed sometimes for picking up certain jerseys, and I'm just like, if I get them for $4 and they're used, they'll sell for 25 to somebody. Like they will.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing too. Like older players that you probably wouldn't really have thought of that people are collecting, and they are like, and there's a fan base, you know, for everything out there. So you never know. Especially the Jets. I mean, that poor soul that picked up that jersey.
That poor soul.
Let me go back in the chat a little bit. Oh man, let's see. Man, I'm gonna have to go back up. I don't even know where I left off to see what other questions came in. They were talking about some powerlifting shoes, I think, that people picked up. That sound pretty good. They're so ugly though, but yeah, I passed them at Ross. I don't know why. That's from Caroline. Any tips to get approved quicker for Amazon merch? That one's tough because they're not letting everybody in automatically, but I would try to fill out as much as possible on the first form when you fill in everything. Try to put in a little bit about, I think they leave you a spot for like a URL or something you can talk about or show a store or something you've kind of already been selling online. Check out 2 episodes ago, Merch Minds podcast. Me and Yang talked to Rules for Rebels, also a YouTuber, and he had some tips on trying to get in quicker. So that one might help you a little bit. Capone says 80s Rams jerseys sold for $150. Nice. Who's the player? If you want to let me know. Let's see. Jacksonville Jaguars jerseys retail $150, paid $4.99. I think I did see some. I think that was Blackman. I think was $4.99. He's the player for them. He was actually like a bust, I guess, wide receiver.
Yeah, rookie bust for a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so that one $4.99. But you never know too, because once football season starts, I mean, it doesn't. Sometimes people just want to pick up a jersey from the team, and it's cheap enough. Yeah. They'll sport it.
The thing with new tags and jerseys like that, yeah, it's like someone wants to just get a quick jersey for a game they're going to on a whim, they jump on eBay. I mean, I've had jersey purchases, quite a few of them, where someone messaged me, hey, can I have this by Sunday? They just want it for the game. Yeah. And it's like a player that's totally not relevant, doesn't play for them, isn't popular. And it's just, hey, I want to have some apparel when I go to the game. I don't want to pay an arm and a leg. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally agree on that. Let's see. The question from Sam, what do you guys look for at Goodwill besides jerseys? So you want to go first on that one?
Sure, no problem. So I sell pretty much anything in the men's clothing line. So suits, blazers, sport coats, dress shirts, shoes, jeans, dress pants, shorts. I do ties, and I've been getting into women's clothing. And I do a little bit of hard goods if I see something that catches my eye. I'm not like intentionally looking, but if I see something, I'll grab it. I've been learning dresses, women's dresses, believe it or not. I'm that awkward guy in the women's section.
Yeah, it's like a whole new world out there. Something I don't even have any like expertise or knowledge on at all.
It's been a learning experience, that's for sure. How about you?
So I like to go through, of course, video games. Always do good. Double check on that. Even the kids stuff doesn't have to be jerseys, but hoodies, like name brand stuff that I know will do good. A lot of like Nike, Adidas, a lot of sportswear that I know of. I like to look for that. I used to sell a lot of the Guitar Hero guitars from Goodwill. I used to pick those up for like $5. And a lot of just like menswear too. Jackets, heavy duty jackets do good for a lot of the colder cities and states out there. And what else too? Yeah, like sweatshirts, hoodies, old school stuff, vintage stuff, always does good. So that's pretty much what I like to look for when I go to the thrift stores, at least.
That makes sense. Proportionally, how often do you go to thrift stores versus Ross? Like if you
man, most of the time, and we have like 7 Rosses kind of close to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think we have more Rosses maybe than Goodwill. So for some weird reason, we're kind of backwards like that. So I actually go more to those stores more than more thrifting. And thrifting is just out of control, especially on Mondays, where it's like half off day for us. It's just insane.
Yeah, it's mobs.
Yeah, it's out of control. Superman 847, $5 in the super chat. So showing some love. Luke, you've been enjoying your content. Both of you, please keep it up with the great content learning from both of you. So there you go, $5. I'm gonna give Luke $2.50 from this.
Oh man, well I appreciate that. Thanks for the support. We like the love in the chat. I mean, I don't know about you, Glenn, but hearing the kind words and the compliments that motivates me to keep putting out content. So I appreciate it very much.
Oh yeah, I told people this too in Phoenix. When I get the comments, especially in person, it's huge. Like they're just like, I love watching your videos. It's helped me out, make this and that, and I've you guys are gonna see the video though, but I talk about it because I had somebody come up to me at Burlington one time, and they're like, I made, me and my boyfriend don't make a whole lot of money, but watching your videos, I made an extra, I think it was like 200 something bucks, a month. And for people that are maybe struggling out there, they want extra money, extra income. Like that was huge. That's a huge deal. And I was like, I don't even know what to say. I was super happy about it. And I like hearing when people succeed, especially from my videos. And I understand like not everybody's going to be a full-time reseller and making, a lot of money all the time or all this stuff, but just little by little keeps growing, and an extra $200 to take care of a bill is a huge deal.
It's a car payment. I mean, that's and that's why everyone has their varying levels of ambition. It's like if you can make any money off that, and hearing that you help someone do that is it's awesome. So appreciate the support very, very much.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Superman 847. There you go. All right, now let's get into what are we, number 2 already?
Number 2, I believe. So.
Number 2. So top 5 reasons why you should diversify your income. Number 2, any one platform. In this case, we're talking about reselling. They can terminate you at any point. And so my co-host, Yang, Merch Minds podcast, he's constantly freaking out about Merch by Amazon. I mean, they have like all these rules and stuff. I know. And it's like, man, to get booted off, you're like, man, what do I do now? So to have an extra income, eBay or full-time job, or even if you're doing stuff Etsy, Poshmark, anything like that. I mean, you have extra money coming in. You always have to be prepared. When you are just going on one platform, anything can happen. So I always tell everybody, have some type of extra income coming in. You don't want to just be left there and just wondering what to do when it comes to reselling.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, simply stated, you're on their playground and they make the rules. And if they don't want you on their playground anymore, they don't have to let you on. There's no laws that protect you. There's no like, it's theirs. Like if they don't want you on there, you're not on there. And sometimes you don't have control over the things that even bring to their attention that they don't want you on there. And if you don't have a backup plan, like that's an issue. And I've even been very sensitive to this lately. And like I'm definitely over diversified in eBay. Like, and I very much realized that. And so I'm making efforts to figure out ways to diversify outside of the 3 streams I have now. You know, just because of that. And and it's not that you shouldn't focus and go hard at one. You just should also have other ones you're building on the side too. That's at least how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's kind of tough too, because of course you want to go all out and make as much money as you can on eBay or Amazon or whatever you're going into. But that's kind of the hardest thing, because you're kind of like starting off another side hustle that's probably not going to bring you as much money as that original one that you're doing if you're going 100% onto one. But it's important to have that second income, because you just never know, especially like you said, like you're in their playground, you don't have any control over anything pretty much. I mean, they set the rules. So
yeah, I agree. And I've been taking the approach of like, and I did this when I was working, I'm still working full time, but like I was like, okay, let me just I have 80% of my time on my job, let me take 20% and build a side business. And then now I would look at it as, all right, I'm going to put 80% of that 20% towards eBay and the 20% towards the next thing. And, you know, that's how YouTube started for me. And then now it's like, all right, now I'm looking at real estate. So let me just take a small chunk of that time and start learning about it over here, an hour a day, whatever. And it's like, I think that's one of the best ways to chip away at getting that. Like, you don't have to do it all at once, but you just have to be thinking about it and continually working on it.
yeah, I think one of the ones that probably my example would be my buddy Reselling Rabbit, if you guys follow him. So he had a lot of different, if you guys remember, and you guys maybe have been following him over time, like he'd been traveling city to city. Once he got here in El Paso, he wasn't too thrilled because he didn't find much. But he got here selling on FBA. He would find stuff, scan it, of course, have it shipped out straight from the hotel he was in. And then he would just go city to city. And what did he do? Once he got back, I know he was he had like a store. He was trying to balance certain things. He also got on eBay again, but his FBA account got, I think, suspended, and he had to kind of fight back to get it. And it was like a huge deal. So now, I mean, he's still making videos, but he talks about that journey and what happened with getting his account suspended, trying to get it back. It just hasn't really been the same. And even then, retail arbitrage hasn't really been the same either. I think 2 years ago, it was really, really good. I mean, you can go in at Target, Walmart, find certain items that no one else was selling, and competition, no one else. I mean, some people were doing it, but it just wasn't really as popular. And FBA had already been around for like 9 years at that point. It was really, really good. Now it's gotten down. Of course, like since then, it's gotten a lot harder. But I think during this time, eBay, all of that's doing really, really well. It may not last forever. What are you going to do then? What do you plan to do, I guess, Luke? I mean, right now, eBay's doing really, really good, but.
So, yeah, that's a great question. I mean, one of my longer term goals, when I say long term, I don't think past like 3 years, just because it's really hard to dictate the market. But, I'd like to get to a point where I'm buying in bulk primarily and cross-platforming. So one of the things that I thought a lot about is I don't think that the e-commerce platform of reselling is ever going to go away. Mm-hmm. I think the specific platforms you do it on will continually change and evolve. So setting up an infrastructure where you can source items and quickly process and sell them on multiple platforms is a huge asset. And so that's why I've been putting a lot of my brain power behind, is setting up systems, setting up inventory controls, developing the relationships we talked about through, marketing and, different areas, and getting ready to build infrastructure around selling online, not selling on eBay. And so that's been kind of one of the mind shifts I've been trying to start to shift towards. And I love eBay. I mean, I have no, there's no sky is falling for me on eBay. I think eBay is great right now. I think it's going to be for quite a while. But it never hurts to start thinking about other ways to leverage and protect yourself.
Yeah, and I actually took quite a bit of comments and heat from people from they're like, why are you selling on eBay if you're making, $3 to $7 grand on merch or whatever? I'm like, because you have to have these multiple incomes. And I loved, selling on eBay a couple of years ago, and I always kept it. I always felt like if you drop something like this, let's say in this case, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go all in on merch. I'm not going to do eBay anymore. If I dropped eBay completely, I feel like I would also get a little lazier in that point to where maybe if I do need to go back, let's say merch kicked me off. I'm like, oh man, now I need to go back to eBay. I haven't even been selling on eBay. Now it's going to take me some time to get back into it again, used to it again. And how long is that going to take? Or am I going to feel like doing it because I was just so used to, the merch money to where I wasn't shipping out things. So I was like, I want to keep doing this. I love doing it. And I has to, still keep doing that.
Well, and one thing we haven't even covered yet is just the fact that, and it's not our last tip, so I feel like I can say it, but I need the diversity for myself, not even on income. I like shifting gears. I like going from listing a bunch of items to doing a video and engaging with an audience to then packaging things and taking my storage unit. I just like the variety. And if I always was just doing eBay or just doing YouTube or just I like social interaction, I like talking with my peers, and I go to work. I need that variety, that engagement. So that's the other thing for me.
Totally true. Let me go back a little bit. Caroline, what is this podcast you speak of? Merch Minds podcast. We talk about merch by Amazon. That's on iTunes. And then Caroline, we'll see you later. Yes, check out the check out the replay. Julio, what's up? Let me see. Jermaine also came in. What's up? And luxury card store. There's about 32 raw stores within 20-mile radius of my house. Luxury card store. Where do you live? Please tell me. Let me see. Just a heads up. My friend works at Marshall's for me in Chicago. Shoes come in on Wednesday. There we go. Kenneth, worst case scenario, I'll get a job or Uber. Yes. Any of those if you want to. That's always what Gary also says too, right? Is what's your worst case scenario? You're going to work somewhere and you get a job. And that's when you're trying to face your fears when it comes to something you don't want to do. But in your worst case, you'll just end up working again. I mean,
yeah, that's very true.
And luxury card store, Luke. So this is a question for you. Why did you stop selling on FBA? Are you selling a little bit on FBA? Did you, or how did that story go?
So I got bored with it very quickly, and I think I'm just weird, but for whatever reason, scanning things made it so robotic that I didn't enjoy it. I didn't feel like I had to know any particular innate knowledge that separated me from my competition, because it was just scan, read the scanner, yes or no. And for whatever reason, because it was a side hustle, it just wasn't the cash wasn't enough to motivate me to do all that work when it wasn't fun. For me, clothing's fun. It kind of similar to a Ross, right? You need to know a bit about what you're looking for. You need to have some expertise in what you're looking for. I need to know the sport coat styles, sizes, and brands that go well. And not a ton of people, at least in my area, sell that type of stuff and know it. So to me, it was a niche that I could master and separate myself from. And Amazon FBA didn't seem to have that for me. And I'm just a big believer, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not going to stick with it. So I just knew right away. I was I do want to get into shoes a little bit on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I am way late into the game, but that is one area I wouldn't mind diversifying back into Amazon FBA, because I do enjoy shoes a little more. And it seems pretty straightforward and easy. And I could pick up some jerseys for my collection while I'm there.
There you go. I think it's also because the thrill of the hunt, right? It's not really there with Amazon FBA. If you're doing retail ARB in Target, Walmart, I mean, you're going to see the same items over and over again. So yeah, you're pretty much just scanning them. So I could definitely see that. Did you ever try wholesale or anything?
Never gotten a wholesale. Never gotten a private label, any of that stuff. I just haven't. I mean, clothing kind of took over my world, and I liked it, so I just ran with it. I was doing both clothing and Amazon FBA during like mid 2015.
Oh, okay.
And then I stopped.
Oh, okay, cool. And let me see. Oh, so luxury card store, suburbs of Philly. Yeah, Philly. I did look at the map, and Kenneth says, "All right, Glenn, we got to go to Philly." It was loaded with Ross and all those stores. So, all right, thanks for that. That might have to be a future trip.
Yeah.
Let me see. So, Luke, a little off topic, but this question: have you seen other sellers using your picks for their listings, and what would you do in that situation?
I haven't, and that's only because when I'm studying sold listings, it's usually for things I don't already sell, so I wouldn't ever come across them.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't really see it. If I did, I don't think there's enough return on my time to do anything about it. That's
Yeah. Yeah, on my end, I did see some people using some of my photos. I mean, I guess you can do a couple of things. I mean, the first thing you can do is like just message them and tell them you're gonna, get rid of the photos, take your own photos because you're gonna report it to eBay or something. Or you just straight up call eBay and tell them, this person's using your photos. But it's kind of the same thing. Maybe I just didn't really have. I mean, I saw it and I was like, I just. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I have to keep editing these videos. I was just like kept moving with more stuff that I was like, if they sell something cool, but I was like, there's nothing really I can do about it unless I really go through this whole thing and make a big deal out of it. Then I could probably get it removed. But I ended up just kind of ignoring it and just kept on editing videos. It's kind of funny. Let's see, Drummer and North Bay. Good idea. Use Luke's picks.
What's up, Drummer? So Drummer, I give a shout out to him. He is definitely one of the loyal followers. He watches a lot of my videos. He's given a lot of valuable input. He's out there hustling. So just a shout out to him. And he does have a music. I do want to give this plug, Glenn. I hope you don't mind. He has a music YouTube channel. And he's like, Drummer, how old are you? I think 14, maybe you said 15. Sorry if I'm wrong.
Okay, cool.
Feel free to throw it in the chat and let people know. I think it's pretty awesome how much he's hustling at his age and making things happen. So.
Oh, I know. You make other people that age, when you make other kids look kind of like lazy and stuff, that's, you're doing well when you're hustling at a young age. And I wish I could have made like way better money during that age. I was just getting to like trading cards and trying to sell cards and stuff. I wasn't as successful as Gary Vee with cards and lemonade stands.
I wasted too much time playing video games, unfortunately. Yeah. I wish I had been hustling at that age. So
yeah. All right, number one. And that is just the fact that, number one reason, I should say, the top 5 reasons why you should diversify your income. And that is job security has completely changed. So like when my parents, I think you don't even have to go to college either. You get a job, you work, you move up the corporate ladder, you make more money, and you just keep moving up and everything. I think that has totally changed now. And I guess to me more, it's about who you know. I mean, I remember when I worked full time, I had somebody that my boss had already worked with at a previous job. So this person didn't really have to go through all the interview process as other people had to, moved right in and was making 3 times the amount I was. And it was just kind of like, well, you're in, I know you, it's cool, here you go. Now it's just totally different. How was it, I guess? What made you move from your old job to this new job? Anything particular? Or just have a better job here, or what happened?
So it was a better opportunity, at least like pay wise, and it was like similar work, but it was just a better opportunity pay wise, and it was like 4 minutes from my home versus the other one I had like a half-hour commute both ways. So that was a big perk for me to kind of leverage that time into my my side hustles. But yeah, I mean, I definitely echo the job security statement. I mean, I do work in finance, and in Charlotte, it's a really hot industry. So like I'm in a bubble where I feel okay. But at the same time, it's like the market can shift so quickly, and it doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't matter. Like it's numbers. And if they're going to cut X people, they cut them in order of, whatever makes the most sense for them monetarily, and you have no control over that. And so like, I think that, and then also I don't want to rely, just like you said, like this drives me nuts. I could bust my butt for 80 hours a week, and it's up to my superior to recognize that I'm doing that, to then make something happen about it so that I get rewarded for it. And like that's just a lot in someone else's hands, right? And that's, I think you're absolutely right that people take the side hustle into their own hands so they don't have to wait around for that.
Yeah.
It's dead on.
Exactly. So if they do get laid off or fired or something happens, you have that money to fall back on. Also, maybe something you've been kind of building up on the side. In your case, in my case, it was an eBay store that had been, growing and everything. So it didn't feel as bad in case you want to make a move or anything happens. But luxury card store says, yeah, job security doesn't exist anymore. I've gotten laid off so much, I don't even blink when it happens. And that's the thing too that I wanted, I guess. I mean, I could probably just go off on a lot of this stuff because number one, college, going to university, I mean, they're not going to teach you anything like that. And that's probably something that we never really even talked about was managing money, side hustling. What happens if you never get a job? What happens if you do get a job, you do get laid off or fired? How do you prepare for something like that? And being in the university, and you're getting your degree is pretty much just like nonstop empty promises of you're gonna make the money you want, you're gonna do this and that, and I was like, man, like this is a real world. It's nothing what they kind of told me it was gonna be about.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, one of the other things that was wrapped into that was, oh, just if you get student loans, it's fine because you'll pay them back with the salary you make, and like. What a not true statement that was.
Oh man, I heard that one so many times.
Oh man. And I was right. I mean, we're about the same age. We grew up in that decade of just like, yeah, 4-year degree, got a job forever. They take care of you forever. It's like, nope, not anymore. I think pretty much like my second year in the workforce is when all the big companies got rid of pensions. Pensions left, and it was like 401ks were the only thing there.
Yeah.
So that was like the start of the fall of that mindset.
And I guess to throw on to that, I remember when I was really doing some of the YouTube videos in the beginning talking about eBay, a lot of the trolls came in and they were like, hey, Glenn, why don't you get a real job instead of selling on eBay? And that's what I think is funny because a real job even doesn't even give you that security that people probably think you'll have. I mean, it's the same thing that we just talked about. eBay could get rid of you or terminate you, suspend you with your account. Your job can fire you, lay you off, any of that at any time too. They're in control, just like eBay would be in control. So having a side hustle, whether it is a full-time job or you're selling on one platform, I think is just smart. It's the thing you have to do now.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to be thinking. The only way to actually take back some of that control is to have multiple things going on, and then to also be thinking about like everyone. I get asked all the time, so it's kind of, well, when are you going to leave your job and go full time reselling? To me, it's like it's not about when I'm going to leave my job and go full time reselling. Is when am I going to trade revenue streams for a bigger revenue stream? Like that's all it is in my head, right? Is when am I going to maintain multiple but swap out one lower one for a higher one? I don't want to reduce numbers of revenue streams. Is can I get to a place where I swap one, right, and upgrade it? And can I leverage them into new ones? And like that's how I view it, almost like a portfolio of business. And I view my full-time job as a portfolio of my business. It's just me using my skills and selling them to someone. I mean, that's really what it is. I'm selling my skills to a company. I mean, that's an exchange of service.
Yeah.
So it's sad to think about it that way, but if you want to actually have control over your financial picture, like that's the best way to view it.
Yeah, and I know everybody's gonna tell you too, well, if you're selling on your own website, you're building up your own brand, all of this. Now, in that case, you do have control, but you must also change and evolve and make sure that your business is also going with it. And that's one of the main reasons why Kmart didn't last. I mean, Target, Walmart, they were evolving, and Kmart just kind of stayed behind. Like their prices were still higher than everybody else. Their stores weren't as clean, and they just kind of like, I don't know, they're just kind of stuck there. And if you don't evolve, I mean, you're also going to go out of business, whether you're 100% control or not. And that's another thing too, that I think people kind of ignore that part too. And Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things all around.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree.
And let me see. I think I was going to talk about too. Oh yeah, what is it? It's kind of like a random question, but so what are your thoughts on like retirement?
Yeah, no, I love this topic. I mean, this is like one of my favorites. So one, I don't ever want to retire. So that's one thing that I decided probably 2 or 3 years ago. I realized that I don't do well with idle time. So like I don't relax well, which is like it's just my personality. I've kind of embraced it. Like I like progress, achievements, like fulfilling. So for me, when I think about retirement, I think about how can I build wealth that lets me continue doing things I'm passionate about. So like when I think about retirement, I think about it again. I want multiple, not streams of income, but I want multiple pillars of like wealth or retirement income. And so I think about that from like managing my portfolio of stocks investments, managing a portfolio of real estate, and then maybe a business that I'm running. So I always think of it as three legs, like a tripod, and that's how I view my business now. That's how I view when I want to build wealth towards. And whether that's right, the best formula, the wrong formula, I don't know, but that's the one that I've learned the most about and want to pursue. How about you? What are your plans?
I don't know. I guess when it comes to the retirement part, because I think the same thing. Like if I'm left with a lot of time too, I feel like maybe I'm not really productive or contributing anything in that case. But that was just kind of like the mindset when I worked at the university, was the fact that whether they hated their job or not, working, you know, until they see retirement and Social Security and all of that. And even then, I mean, nothing is really even promised then, especially when you're talking about Social Security. I mean, I really don't even know what's going to happen then down the road. But we just had so many people that just hated what they did, and they were just in it because they were either getting benefits because they had benefits package there, which they were still paying also,
Okay.
or they wanted to have the retirement package down the road. But even then, I mean, you're making like 1/3 of what you were making, and I don't know. I just don't really see it happening. And funny, Kenneth Hustleby was in the live chat coming from the Philippines. He was like, retirement wasn't even a word I even knew what that even meant until I got to America. It's just like work nonstop. Like that's what you do.
That's what you do. Yeah.
So that was pretty funny.
That is really funny, actually. Yeah, it's funny. Like I think about the retirement concept, and one of the best things that I ever was told is back when I'm from in upstate New York. I used to play basketball with a guy who's 85. Well, he's 85 now. He played 3 to 4 times a week. He'd swim laps at one of our local lakes. And one of the things he always would tell me is like, don't ever stop. It's like, the minute you stop doing the things you do, you won't be able to get them back. And I was like, huh? And he's like, no. He's like, if you stop moving, you stop working, you stop trying to achieve, then that's the minute that you start dying. And I was like, that's really morbid. But he's like, no, but for real. And I'm like, but it's true. Like I think about that. You can apply that almost anywhere. It's like when you stop that motion of moving forward, it's like, well, where do you go? If you're not moving forward, where are you moving? And so I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, I think that's almost kind of like the eBay story that I was kind of going back to, that if I was just going on merch and I just completely stopped eBay, then I wasn't constantly moving with it. It would be hard to get back into that motion and get back into selling again. So it's always good to keep that going. And in his case, staying active, right? And doing what he loves too. So no complaints there.
Absolutely.
Let me go back in the chat real quick because we had a lot of comments that just kind of came in. North Bay says a side hustle is a must now. No security in the corporate world. Let me see. E-commerce makes it easy now if you have the right, if you have the work ethic. Totally agree there. eBay does not care if somebody uses your photos. If you bug them, they will remove your images from your old listing and let that person who stole your photos keep using them. Happened to me. Well, that's good to know, but not really good, I guess, as far as the solution goes. Let's see. Kmart was terrible. We had people use our pics on eBay, remove them from another listing. All right. Let's see. Jam says that's a good point. Whoa. Oh, where'd I go? Okay, that's a good point by Luke. You can bust your ass off in the workplace and your boss won't notice. But when you put in that same effort on your side hustle, you will notice the return on your efforts. For the first time this July, I made more money on my side hustle than my full-time job. Nice.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember those days too. There was a certain point where I did make more money on eBay, and then I saw my check, and I was like, oh man, now it's decision time. Like, is this really worth it or not? So I remember that. Let me see. In 2008, 2009, Bed Bath & Beyond went from selling high-priced home stuff to selling basics. And now recession is over, and they have gone back into selling high-priced stuff. It's kind of interesting to hear onto that. And Kenneth, yep, what's retirement? Let's see, retirement is when you have $1 million on your eBay and 60-day total. That's pretty hilarious. Saying what's up, Danny Ryder is here. Luke, have you ever sold on Poshmark?
I have not.
Okay.
Not because I think it's a bad idea. I just haven't taken the time to learn.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I did sign up. I did sign up for Poshmark and Mercari, and then I didn't really end up doing it with it. Anything with it, I guess, because I was still selling on eBay and Amazon. And even though there are good backup plans, I really should say, because now you have other platforms to still sell on. But in my case, I was like, well, I'm still doing well here. At least I have these two. And maybe if one falls, then I could now get into another one and go from there. All right. So I mean, we covered all 5. You want to go through all 5 of them again real quick, just to kind of review before we go. Number 5, Luke.
Yeah, number 5 was that it basically allows you a chance, like living off one frees you up to have the resources to snowball and invest in other, ventures and opportunities.
And then number 4, we want to protect yourself in a down economy. We don't know when that's going to happen. Could happen soon. We don't know. Gary Vee hopes it does. Number 3.
Yeah, number 3. The synergies and kind of the leveraging of multiple income streams and the network of people you find allows you to connect and leverage back and forth. And we gave a couple examples of like eBay into YouTube content, YouTube into other resellers, and networking backwards for connections. And it just kind of all ties together and allows you to grow faster in every avenue.
Very nice. And number 2, any one platform can terminate you at any point. So make sure you have some backup plans. If you're selling on eBay, maybe try to get into Amazon a little bit if that's something you want to do. We talked about Poshmark now recently, Mercari, OfferUp. I mean, that's a cool thing. There's multiple platforms to get into. You don't have to just go into one, but at least you have some there. And number 1 was just that job security has changed. Of course, climbing up the corporate ladder has changed, having a backup plan, making money on the side. And like let me see, let me go back up. What Jam said, eventually his side hustle, he made more money doing that than his actual full-time job. So you have that to, fall back on in case you get fired, laid off, maybe you just want to change, you have that money there. So.
Great.
Yeah.
This was an awesome show. And like, even just going back and forth and talking about them, I started thinking about things I hadn't even thought about. And man, like it's so tried and true, all this stuff. So hopefully everyone got a lot of value out of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And having that backup plan. So yeah. And in the comments after, if you're re-watching this, let me know what your side hustles are. If you want to list all those in the comments, and me and Luke can read over those and let us know what you're doing. Luke, any last comments, anything you want to say?
Just really appreciate having me on, Glenn. I mean, this is an awesome opportunity. I've watched your content for quite a long time, and it was nice to actually connect and collaborate a little bit and bring some value to people. So appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And now we're going to switch. Now I can go to your channel, and then we can talk there. So it was pretty cool. Thanks for coming on the show. Super cool guest. I need to have more guests, honestly. So
yeah, absolutely. The back and forth interaction. You're a great interviewer, and you definitely put together a heck of an outline. So it's props to you, man.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. So we'll see you guys. Thanks for watching and saying what's up in the live chat. And if you want to rewatch this, I'll have the timestamps in there also right here in the description. So thanks, guys. We'll see you guys on Friday. Ross finds of the week. Go out and get it.